and welcome to this channel, the Spoil Rated channel, where I spoil movies and rate performances. And yes, excuse me for the lighting. Okay, this is my first YouTube channel. I don't have all the fancy equipments yet, but if I keep getting subscribers or whatever, or I get paid more at my job, then yeah, we're gonna see better production here. But of course, gotta start somewhere. Okay, so the reason I'm even making this channel is because it is now the 97th year of the Oscars. And some people may care, some people don't. Me, I can take it or leave it. But there's one thing that kind of keeps me around enough to see what happens. And that's who is nominated. Not just any who, but the who's that look like me. Yes, black people, black nominees, I'm the only thing I'm interested in. And of course, we have the biggest, no, I wouldn't call it a shock. I mean, the movie was that good. It was going to get something. But the shock comes in the number of nominations that this movie has. And of course, I'm talking about Sinners. 16 nominations, the most of any movies ever. So, yes, give a good congrats to Sinners. Yes, yes. And another one, because why not? Oh, and Mank. So, yeah. So, the reason I'm even doing this video or starting this channel is because this is giving me a chance to start this project. It's kind of a passion project, but I'm going to use this year's Oscars to kind of go down the list to rate every black performance that's ever been nominated. So we're going to go all the way from the beginning of the late 30s to now, and I've been pretty much writing all of it chronologically. So, yes, we will go in order of every year that a black person's been nominated in the acting category. Okay, so no offense to Spike Lee or Ryan Coogler or Barry Jenkins. So I'm not going to do directors just yet. I mean, we have over 100 nominated acting performances. 73 of them have been individually nominated, and 14 of those nominees have been nominated more than once. So we're going to go through each of them and rate them. Well, rate them based on my personal ratings. And yeah, and there's been so many nominees. And honestly, I've been starting doing it ever since I read this book. Yes, it's by Edward Mapp called, well, you see the title. So he basically goes through all the nominees from Hattie McDaniel, and he stopped in 2006 with Forrest Whitaker and Will Smith during the when he did the Pursuit of Happiness, and yeah, and Dreamgirls with Jennifer Hudson and Eddie Murphy. So that's where he stopped last. This book is like in 2008, so there's been like possibly 50 other nominees since then. So I am going to kind of not only rate those performances in the book, but also, rate the performances that came after. So it's just a lot. That's giving me plenty of materials, and it's to me, it's going to be fun. Okay, whether you like it or not, it's going to be fun for me, and I'm cool with that. And of course, we have to, and I might make another separate video just to talk about him. But of course, the reason why we even call the Academy Awards the Oscars in the first place is because of Oscar Micheaux. And yes, the X, that's how you pronounce his last name, Micheaux. So yeah, he's basically a director, an author, and he's produced like over 44 films in his lifetime from 1919 to 1948. And, it's basically deals with themes of, Black people, the struggles that they go through, the ones who had to pass to get by, and when I mean passing, I mean, they look white, but they were black, Jim Crow, one drop rule, and all that stuff. And I'll talk about how I feel about that later. But and basically just the different struggles of just being black and his roles, I mean not his roles, but what he directed, what he created, definitely gave more nuance and depth at that time, well, while the main society was basically making minstrels of us. I mean, for goodness sake, we couldn't even play ourselves because blackface existed. So the fact that Oscar definitely put in the work to cast actual black people to play these roles and they weren't stereotypical, or he tried to make it as not as stereotypical as possible. It's a trailblazer, and that's why we even call the Academy Awards the Oscars. So yeah, definitely shout out to him, and I might make a separate video just to talk about his work and his accomplishments, and maybe go through some of his movies. Even though some of those movies have been lost over time, obviously you can't find them on Tubi or anything. So you know, some of them may survive, some of them were lost, but as long as we have like something to read and the records of it, I'm sure we get the gist of what he was talking about. So yeah. So my ratings of how I'm going to rate each performance is. Now, some of this is going to be tricky, depending on what kind of roles these are, but I have four levels of rating these performances. Now, the first one, and I'm going to use my little personal drawings of how I'm going to do this. Yes, I know I'm not an artist, okay, but this is the best I could do. So, Black Excellence. That's the first rating. Okay, the thumbs up, the smile, teeth, all of the teeth are showing, wink. And yeah, those are for the roles that are positive, positive, just positive. Black excellence. I mean, yeah, these are the inspired roles. These are the roles where we're like, yes, just just yes. Okay. And positive doesn't mean that you don't go through faults. I mean, well, if you don't have faults of your own, you don't have it doesn't mean perfection. Okay. So we all go through things. We all struggle. We all have gone through things where it it makes us better people. So whatever they've gone through, whatever difficulties that they've gone through as a people, I mean as a character for that individual, then how they overcome it, how they get over it in the end, how they handle those situations, that definitely will give Black positivity. And yes, some of these roles are biopics, so they are based off real people. So that's going to be a little iffy. Obviously, they're going to be positive, because whether they're like famous or just famous entertainers, famous activists, obviously they're going to be Black excellence. But, they've gone through something too, and I will mention those qualities of what they've gone through. But their positivity basically overshadows whatever they've gone through. And at the end, Black excellence is the highest rating I'm going to give that performance if it lives up to that. Number two, I rock with it. I rock with it. One thumbs up, just a regular smile. And these are roles that are mostly positive. These are mostly positive roles, but they might have little iffies, little stereotypical moments here and there, or it's a stereotype that has more nuance. It has more depth. It's not just the sassy Black woman. She's a sassy Black woman who shows vulnerability and has a you know shows her femininity, and she's not just rough and tough all the time, or it's just the gangster who wants to make something of his life and turns his life around for the better. So these are, and I'm just making up things that, I mean, that might show up in some of these roles, but I'm just giving general descriptions. So these are roles where it's mostly positive, but they might have some ifs and afs about it. And okay, sorry for the edit skip. I had to take a phone call. But okay, so we did Black Excellence, we did I Rock with It. Now, the third level that a performance could be rated is a little too sus for me. A little bit sus for me. And this is not the lowest, I mean, it's the second to the lowest, but these are the performances that are mostly stereotypical. They're either I'm sorry, not mostly. I would say halfway. I'm going to be a little generous. These are halfway stereotypical performances. These are it's like they have good moments, they have good entertaining moments, and then they have moments that kind of it's either cringe or it's like, well, they could have done better with this character. So it's halfway. It's half and half. So, you know, that's why it's a little I do this with the drawing. It's us. It's yeah. I mean, it could be a watchable movie. It's still a watchable. They don't ruin the movie. I mean, I mean, if you see it with the clear vision, you could kind of see. Okay, yeah, we kind of yeah. But if you were just watching it blindly, just turning your brain off and like, oh, I can actually enjoy this. Yeah, it might not bother you. This character may not bother you at all, but hey, it's a subjective thing. It's people can see it in any way they want. But for me, these are performances that are just a bit little too sus. I can watch the movie, I could probably watch it again, but this character might have moments where they're just, yeah, yeah, little too close to the coon train. And speaking of which, the last level of how I will rate a performance is coontastic crap. Yes, coontastic crap. These are the most degrading, stereotypical, caricature, not positive performances that a black person could be nominated for. And what's coontastic to one viewer could be a little sus or even entertaining to someone else. And let's be honest, I'll put it this way. And I know some people are going to be a little mad, but you know what? This is my channel and feelings will be ruffled. Okay. I'm going to learn how to be that person that doesn't care how people feel. So this is a great way to start. But these are the kind of performances that when a white person watches it, or even a person who's not black, when they watch this performance, they're showing all 32s. Yeah, they're giving the biggest applause. They're doing this. If you can hear it, they're doing that at the end of the movie. While the rest of us who at least have some common sense are like, yeah. So those are, yeah, like I said, these are performances that are very detrimental to us as a people. These are performances that don't do us any good or any good services at all. And yeah, and unfortunately some black performances do win because of that. So, you know, I'm not gonna give examples just yet. Like I said, I'm going down the list. So I'm not gonna give any spoilers. I'm not gonna say which ones. You probably know which ones. So, but Coontastic is just the lowest level I can give a performance if it's just that bad. So yes, those are my four criteria. So black excellence, I rock with it, a little too sus for me, and Coontastic crap. So yeah, and why even do this? Why even do this at all? It's just like I said, why not? I got free time. I got free time before work and after work. So, it's a passion project. And besides that, like I said, I want just my people to kind of see, and not just, I mean, they probably already know, but I just kind of want them to realize that what they watch could influence them subconsciously or consciously in a way where they feel like, okay, if that's the only way I could be seen, if I do a role like this, or, oh, if this is the only role that's out there, Like, yes, there are positive roles and we should encourage more of those roles, but yet we have to also be aware of the negative roles, and not just the clearly negative roles, but the ones that may seem not that bad, but they do have some moments where where you're like, oh yeah, that is bad when you look at it. So it's just give a perspective of these roles. And like I said, we're still in the system. Okay, let's not expect the system to give us positive roles all the time. And even if we get positive roles, some of those roles won't even be nominated. And if they do, some of them will say, oh, it's just a slow year. No, they were talented enough to be nominated and they definitely deserve it. But overall, like I said, it is what it is, you know? And even with this year, I mean, I'm not going to say Sinners isn't going to win anything. I hope it wins the big stuff. But just in case it doesn't, like I said, there's been plenty of good performances that should have won and didn't. But guess what? We remember those moments or those roles more than the ones that won. Okay? I'd rather be remembered and lose. I'm sorry. I would rather lose but still be remembered in a good, favorable way than win something, then be forgotten afterwards, you know? So sometimes being nominated could just be just as great as just winning. And yeah, so the next video we will start definitely with the first, not only the first nominee ever, but the first black nominee to win. And that is Hattie McDaniel. And like I said, being the first, you're setting the bar. So we're going to talk about her and her role in Gone with the Wind. And I'm going to talk about just her character in the film. I'm not going to describe the whole film, it's very long. Who has the time? So I'm just going to describe her role in the movie, what she did throughout, and the rate I'm going to give it. And honestly, even after that video, I might give another video after that to describe the archetype that she brought to life with that role. So I'm not going to say what rating I'll give her just yet, but you have to watch and see. So this is Spoiled Raiders, and I'll come back to you next time with my ratings.